Welcome to the Board of Dentistry's hybrid meeting. This meeting will be conducted virtually and in person. Just for note, this meeting is also being recorded. I'll be taking roll call after the video and information is provided on internet and phone access for this meeting. Now, a short video will be shown to explain the procedures for this hybrid meeting. And if we can start the video, please.
Welcome to the Professional and Vocational Licensing Virtual Board Meeting.
When the meeting begins momentarily, the chair will take a roll call, explain any specific rules for this particular board, and then move to public comment. The name of the board member will appear on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. For instance, this is board member Y, and this is board member E. Public testimony will be accepted at the beginning of the meeting and before each agenda item. You can indicate that you are ready to testify by clicking on the Raise Hand button being circled by the mouse on your screen now. At the appropriate time, the board will recognize you to speak and ask you to unmute your mic as shown here. Again, public testimony will be accepted at the beginning of the meeting and before each agenda item. Public attendees will not be able to unmute their microphone until recognized by the board. Public attendees who are recognized to testify will be asked to identify themselves by name and their affiliated organization if applicable. Please mute your microphone when you are finished speaking as a courtesy to others and members of the board. Public attendees will not be able to unmute themselves after the testimony is completed unless recognized again after raising their hand. At some point during the meeting, the board may choose to move into executive session. When the board moves into executive session, the board members' microphones and video feeds will be turned off, and a similar screen as you see now will be displayed. When the board returns from executive session, their microphones will be turned on as well as their video cameras.
Welcome again to the Professional and Vocational Licensing Virtual Board Meeting.
At this time, the chair will call the meeting to order and take a roll call, as well as explain any additional rules that may be specific to this board.
Okay, Drs. Pine and Dr. Lau, can you please read the instructions for the access to the meeting for internet and phone access, please? Thank you.
Okay. Internet access. To view the meeting and provide live oral testimony, please use the link at the top of the agenda. You'll be asked to enter your name. The board requests that you enter your full name, but you may use a pseudonym or other identifier if you wish to remain anonymous. You will be asked for an email address. You may fill in this field with any entry in an email format, for example, blank@blankmail.com. Your microphone will be automatically muted. When the chairperson asks for public testimony, you may click the raise hand button found on your Zoom screen to indicate that you wish to testify about the agenda item. The chairperson will individually enable each testifier to unmute their microphone. When recognized by the chairperson, please unmute your microphone before speaking and mute your microphone after you finish speaking. Upon request, your Zoom video or similar on-camera option will be enabled to allow you to be visible to the board members and other meeting participants while presenting oral testimony. Please turn off your camera after you conclude your testimony. It is the individual testifier's responsibility to ensure that they have the video and internet capabilities to successfully stream or remotely testify. The board maintains the authority to remove and block individuals who willfully disrupt or compromise the conduct of this meeting.
Phone access. If you cannot get internet access, you may get audio-only access by calling the phone number listed at the top of the agenda. Upon dialing the number, you will be prompted to enter the meeting ID, which is also listed at the top of the agenda. After entering the meeting ID, you will be asked to either enter your panelist number or wait to be admitted into the meeting. You will not have a panelist number, so please wait until you are admitted into the meeting. When the chairperson asks for public testimony, you may indicate you want to testify by entering an asterisk and then 9 on your phone's keypad. After entering asterisk and then 9, A voice prompt will let you know that the host of the meeting has been notified. When recognized by the chairperson, you may unmute yourself by pressing asterisk and then 6 on your phone. A voice prompt will let you know that you are unmuted. Once you are finished speaking, please enter asterisk and then 6 again to mute yourself. For both internet and phone access when testifying, you will be asked to identify yourself and the organization, if any, that you represent. Each testifier will be limited to 5 minutes of testimony per agenda item. If connection to the meeting is lost for more than 30 minutes, the meeting will be continued on a specified date and time. This information will be provided on the board's website, and instructions to attend the State of Hawaii virtual board meeting may be found online.
Thank you, doctors. I appreciate that. Moving on to agenda item number 1, roll call. I'll be conducting roll call for board members in attendance. Please indicate if you're alone or someone else is present. Dr. Guevara,
Present and alone.
Dr. Hirona,
Alone and present.
Dr. Pine,
Present.
Ms. Shimabuku. Present. Ms. Timmerman.
Present and alone.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Tanabe,
Present and alone.
Dr. Wu,
Present and alone.
thank you. Ms. Yamada,
Present and alone.
okay, Dr. Yamamoto. Okay, noting Dr. Yamamoto not here, and I'm present in person. And then Dr. Lau.
Present.
No, thank you. I just want to make note that Dr. Yamamoto and Dr. Young are excused from this meeting from previous notice. In addition to the board members, we have our executive officers, Adrian Stenardo and Deputy Attorney General Christopher Hahn. We also have Executive Officer Christy Fulin, who is joining us at this time. We also have members of the staff to assist us with the technical side of this hybrid meeting. Confirming that we do have quorum, I'm calling this meeting to order. Start time of the meeting is 10:10 a.m. Just a friendly reminder for the board members participating virtually, please remember to mute your microphones if you're not speaking. If you need to step away, please announce that you're doing so, and please indicate when you return. The agenda item was filed with the Office of Lieutenant Governor and posted on the state electronic calendar as required by HRS Section 92-7B. Now moving on to agenda item number 2, 2026 legislative session. The board will discuss its position on the following listed bills introduced for the 2027 or 26 legislative session.
Chairman, just so you know, we have a hand up.
In person.
Okay.
Joseph Mayer, inactive dentist. On your roll call,
Yes.
for clarification, I have 2 Dr. Louds. One is Dr. K and one is a KH. Are either one of those present?
I'm Dr. K. Lau, not KH.
Okay, thanks. It's not been in the minutes before. I wanted that clarified.
I know. Thank you, Dr. Mayor. Appreciate that. So regarding the 2026 legislative session, Adrian, are there any comments or discussion from you regarding
Yeah, I
this
just
agenda
want
item?
for the public's benefit, and because we have some new board members since the last legislative session, just some background on what the board is kind of expected to do each session. So the board will review any bills that are related to Dentistry's Practice Act or change the Practice Act or just any even peripherally related to dentistry. And the board on each of the bills, they'll be presented the bill to look at in a board meeting, and then we'll vote on each one. Each one will be an agenda item that will have a formal position from the board. And some of the options that the board can decide to choose as their position, they can support with reservations, support the intent, oppose, provide comments, or it's an option to just track the bill and have no position. And then when the bill is heard, or if the bill is heard, the EO will go on behalf of the board and present written testimony based on the board's position, and then they will also be there in person. So if the senator, whoever it is, asks a question, they will be able to answer based on the board's discussion. And I want to note for this session, really the only bills that are realistically still alive are House Bill 1671 and House Bill 1431. The rest of these have kind of stalled and haven't made it through the committees they probably needed to in time. The decking deadlines have pretty much passed, so it's still good to get the board's stance on each of these bills. But that's just of note before we start. But yeah, that's everything.
Okay, Chair, I just want to notate that there's a hand up from the public online. So I'm gonna unmute you, Melissa. Hold on 1 second. Oh, 1 second.
Aloha, this is Melissa from the Hawaii Dental Association. And thank you for allowing me to just say one comment regarding the legislative bills that you have before you. You've previously heard that the Dental Association's position on the 2025 bills that carried over, and as it was noted, House Bill 1671 is really the new one that is still alive. We've been testifying with comments only, not in support or in opposition. We have a range of member comments, but the substance of the HDA comments is just that, we want legislators to know that we are an important stakeholder here. We're a resource, but we are taking no active position currently on interim therapeutic restoration. So I just wanted to share that with you, and as always, want to serve as a resource to this board as well. Thanks for allowing me to share that.
Maybe going forward, thank you for giving that information, but I think just going forward for each bill, just so it's kept organized, we'll go into each agenda item and then we'll ask if there's public comments. So then each association or whoever it is can provide testimony at the time each bill is discussed. But thank you.
Okay, seeing no other hands up regarding this general agenda item, we'll move on to agenda item 2A, SB 481, relating to community service licenses. At this time, Adrian, do you want to give additional background or overview of this carryover bill from last legislative session?
Sure. So this is the bill that probably changes the most about the Practice Act for dentistry. The intent of the bill is to improve access to care for MedQuest insurance dental patients. And it wants to do this by increasing the number of dental providers with it uses the wrong acronym. It uses CSL in the bill's description, but the acronym that we use is CSDT. So when speaking about it, I'll just call it CSDT because that's what we use. So it does a couple things to try to increase the amount of CSDTs we currently have. It allows CODA accredited schools in Canada to be eligible for CSDT. It removes the requirement that licensing exams need to be completed within 5 years before they come here and apply for CSDT. It also removes the requirement that a CSDT needs to be licensed and in good standing in another jurisdiction. It removes the prohibition against applicants who have failed licensing examination any amount of times from applying for the CSDT, and it requires that the CSDTs are able to automatically convert into regular general unrestricted dentist licenses or DT licenses as soon as they complete 5,000 hours of practice at a community service level. Some of the things I want to note for the board. So the primary intent of this bill is to allow CODA accredited graduates from Canada to be eligible for CSDT licensure. I just want to note this is already allowable based on our statute, the way it's written. So the bill actually restricts who's eligible to only the CODA reciprocal schools in Canada. Also, I think another thing that's very important for the board to discuss is that these licenses, I think it's on page 10, the first lines like 1 through 5, 1 through 6, these new CSDT licenses are eligible for automatic conversion to regular dental licensure. So this does two things. This makes a new pathway for dentists to become regular dentists. You can fail the exam infinite times, never been licensed in another state, and it makes a new pathway. The second thing this does is the effect it will have on existing community service dentist licenses. Whether the conversion to the regular dentist license is automatic or it's an elective choice they can make, we will probably lose a lot of our existing community service dentists that we have, which right now is 15. So it will really limit the amount that we have available. which is kind of against the intent of this bill. But that's everything that I think the board should know about this bill and the way the statute is currently written.
No, thank you, Adrian. At this time, I'm going to open up for public testimony. I just want to make note that when you hear your name, please identify yourself, the organization you represent, if any. Then if you can please provide your comment. Because of the time limitations, we're asking that you limit your comments to 5 minutes. At this time, is there any open testimony from public? I see Dr. Mayer. You can just come up and.
Thank you again so much, Dr. Joseph Mayer, inactive dental license. Thank you, board, for permitting me to have this time. My issues are in support of 481 in regards to the requirement for a license from another state. If I recall, according to Hawaii Revised Statutes 448-9 and Hawaii Administrative Rules 1679, 9, and 11, a person applying for an unrestricted license does not have to present a license from another state. Therefore, I think it's discriminatory to have a community service licensee have to provide a license from another state when somebody applying for a general license does not have that same requirement. In regards to the National Board exam, Part 2, or the integrated national exam, the community service license requires that be completed within a 5-year period of time for reapplying for a license. That requirement does not have a timeline when it applies to a general dental license. Again, I think that's discriminatory in nature. The third issue was that in lieu of the integrated national board exam, you could provide 1,000 hours for 3 years prior to applying. Again, that's not something that is required for a general license. So somebody graduating from dental school, applying for a general license, does not have to have a license from another state, doesn't have to have 3 hours of practice, doesn't have to have completed the national exam within the 5-year limit. I think those are all discriminatory, and that's one of the reasons that were put in this bill to be removed. Thank you for your time.
No, thank you, Dr. Mayer. At this time, is there any other public comment? See no other public comment, I'm going to open it for board discussion and comments from the board. We'll open it up right now.
This is Dr. Lau, board member. I have a comment about the 5,000 hours of community service in this bill. I see a problem on how to measure this. And are the 5,000 hours on patient treatment or to do paperwork and that kind of stuff? That would be difficult to do. The other thing too is I believe that the ADEX exam it's a national exam, and that's a required exam for our state. But they also give that exam in Canada. So the Canadian dental students that wanna come and get this community service license, they could also take that very basic national exam in Canada and get a regular license also. It's available to them. And the exam's also available in Mexico, Jamaica, Saudi Arabia. It's going to spread worldwide as a basic standard of dental care. So that's why I have questions about waiving all this stuff for the dentists to come through without that basic exam.
Any other comments from the board? The board members participating?
This is Steve. I'd like to make a comment.
Dr. Pine?
I agree with a lot of what Dr. Lau said. Just one comment about this is the cannot have failed any part of the ADAX exam. This is just a general thought out there that I think right now as it stands with the community health center service license, if you have that license and you decide, hey, look, I would like a pathway to licensure. and you take the 8X exam and you fail one section of that, you not only then don't have the opportunity for the unrestricted license, but you lose the community health center service license in effect. And so while I am a proponent of a hands-on skills test, I think that might,
That section of.
that section of it, I do have some agreement with, because I think it will, I know the theory behind it. It makes a lot of sense that if you challenge the 8X and you're not up to that standard, why should you be practicing? But in theory, you could just fail one small section for something, and then that could then restrict somebody's ability to instantly practice, and it might then make them not want to go and challenge and in essence be locked into a program.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So I just wanted to point that part of that out. Thank you.
And this is Andrew. I support it. I agree with you regarding the ADICS. There's so many instances where people take the ADICS when they will fail one portion of the multiple portions, and we don't want to restrict that from someone getting a community service license in the future.
Yeah.
So that's a part.
Or have one and lose it because of.
I just want to make a comment regarding all of the pros changes regarding these bills. But the community service license, we do look for the public safety and welfare. And many of these laws that are in place right now looks to kind of help safeguard or help ensure with proof that at least at the very instance of the applicant that they are being, clinically competent, other things like that. For example, a way of checking for people that are applying for community service license, if they do have a dental license in another state, active, unrestricted dental license, at least at that time, we know that they're licensed in another state, they're not under probation, or they're clinically competent and, actively licensed. Other things regarding the national board and the 5-year limitation of 5 years, our concern too is that it does open it up to many times for some of the dentists to maybe graduate 20 years ago, not practice 10 years, and then reapply for this license. They would apply for that. So the years of 5 years from national board and looking at clinical documentation of them practicing is another safeguard that you're looking to make sure that they're clinically practicing and so forth, in addition to those. So that's just some of my comments. Any comments from the board members online at this time? No? Okay. Seeing none at this time, is there any motion regarding a position on this board? On this bill?
Sure, if you'd like, another option is to just defer it if you prefer, since that is something that's within your discretion.
Okay. So at this time, if there's no position on this bill at this time, we can defer.
What was our, might I ask a point of clarification? What was our position last time on this bill?
It was opposed, right?
Yes. And again, we do have the options of, no testimony following. We also have the option of support with intent or oppose.
I think I want to make a motion then. I make a motion to oppose the bill as written. There's too many
Loopholes.
loopholes and problems
Mhm.
and it's so disparate, the things they're grouping together. Some of them we might agree with and some don't make sense at all. So I would oppose this bill as written.
Steve Pine, I would second. Yes.
Okay, so at this time, does anybody, we go to vote, does anybody recuse or abstain from voting? At this time, say aye to approve. Motion to
The
oppose.
motion.
Aye.
Motion to oppose.
Motion to oppose.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. So
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Aye. Anyone opposed to this motion? To oppose the bill? Opposed to.
Our stance on the bill. Yeah.
You made the motion.
So at this time,
Joyce has her hand up. Did you want to say something, Joyce?
Oh, she was.
Oh, the button, the raised hand is up
I
on.
think she was.
Joyce, do you have anything, any comment? You're on mute right now.
No, I don't have a comment.
Okay.
Okay, seeing the voting, the motion is carried for this bill. Next, we're moving on to 2B. HB 1671 HD1 relating to health. There's also companion bill SB 2854, which allows a licensed dental hygienist to place interim therapeutic restorations in public health settings under the general supervision of a licensed dentist. For the record, I will be recusing myself from this agenda item 2B. However, I'll still be conducting my administrative duties to facilitate this agenda item. At this time, Adrian, would you like to provide additional information or overview of this bill?
Sure. So this bill allows dental hygienists to perform interim therapeutic restorations, specifically in a public health setting. It does this by amending 447-3. It adds in a new subsection. So specifically, I want to note, in case it's not clear from the summary, this is only under the general supervision of a licensed dentist and following the dentist's diagnosis of the carrier, whatever it may be. And hygienists in this subsection are still expressly prohibited from performing irreversible procedures under general supervision or intraoral block under general supervision in connection with the ITR placement. So this keeps the statutory separation in the rest of the Practice Act between reversible and irreversible procedures, which is consistent with how their practice is. Otherwise, this bill also requires that the hygienist complete a dental or dental hygiene program training in ITRs that's accredited by CODA or a dental continuing education program that's recognized by PACE, ADA CERP, or the American Academy of Dental Hygiene. And this bill specifies that this training needs to be completed prior to the hygienist being able to perform ITRs. I also want to note, so this bill has been heard 2 times. The first time was February 13th. It passed with amendments changing its effective date to the year 3000. And then again, February 24th. And at this hearing, they actually just released a new version of this bill. In the board's testimony, which offered comments, the chair echoed what the board had asked for, which is some kind of certification in ITR so that the public can be aware of what hygienists are able to or not able to place them. So in the new version, which is HB 1671 HD2, they've added a line that states that the board will give the certification to the dental hygienist. So they would have some kind of certification to do this. But other than that, I think that's everything for the board.
Okay, no, thank you, Adrian. At this time, I'll open it up for public testimony. Seeing no hands raised, Chair. Okay, moving on, I'd like to open it up for discussion and comments for the board regarding this bill.
Steve Pine. I have some very general comments. Then when I look at this, especially the page, especially the discussion about the CE, I believe it is on page 8 here, and regarding who is able to be accredited as the dental education program offered by JGB, CERP, ADA, and Academy of Dental Hygiene. My thoughts on this is that this would be kind of an outlier in the way that that's done compared to the rest of the statutes. In that if we look at, for example, the hygiene on revised statutes, 60-79-76. And there it says that it can also, it's a CODA accredited dental hygiene school or a certification program approved by the board. My point of this is that there is no then pathway for the board to approve a course related to this. It would have to be a course that is PACE, CERP, or Academy of Dental Hygiene only. And so we might have a group that wants to then be able to offer it that wouldn't meet all the requirements, in which the board would not be able to have a say in that, the way that this is currently written. So just throwing that out there, as well as I love the idea of the hours that are involved. But my only concern is if for some reason in the future it becomes standard in schools, that it might be hard for people to then track those hours to actually then meet the requirements, like is done currently with the hygiene and for all anesthesia one. If in 10 years this becomes a standard in dental hygiene programs, then people graduating would have to make sure they get all the hours. But I understand why that's in there. So it's just my own comments on that. That's all.
At this time, if there are any other comment?
So is it 3,000 still? Yeah, we have until then to sort out the
The effective date.
the effective date. So we can do things like add the board approval
I
of
think
the
right now,
schools and stuff.
The administrative rules, based on my reading of the phrasing of the administrative rules that you mentioned, that allows the board to approve any CE. I don't think it limits it to.
Okay,
one
that
section
was
of
part of my
section.
concern is that
I
this
believe
was.
so, if that's how.
It sounds about right, but I'll have to go look at it again.
Okay, yeah, because if we look, for example, at an example of that, which is the administration of local anesthesia, right? There's only CODA accredited dental hygiene schools or a program approved by the board. There's no other wiggle room in there as that way that's written. And if this was written that same way, that would be my only concern.
Question. So this clinical training, the 4 hours, is to be taught by a dentist?
Which
She's looking
So
at.
right now, it's not being taught for a dental hygienist, right? This is like an additional?
yeah, that's not taught.
It's not part of the
No,
dental hygienist program, right?
no.
So that means a dentist has to train them for 4 hours. How do we get a report saying that they were trained? Any other comment? I mean,
The school is the best way because we can
Right,
write it
so,
down,
you
but
know,
is it only for community service or can like the public, the regular dentists
Right.
have their hygienists do it? That's another question that comes out. This is limited in scope to only public health settings. Does that include private practice that takes patients? And also, this is a little bit related. I have a question for Attorney General. So the scope of practice for dental hygienists, not to remove tissues permanently, so if they're removing decay, that's part of tooth structure, is that okay? I mean, that's not really in the scope right now, because that's what we don't teach that kind of stuff.
My inclination would be that I don't think that would be okay, but I'd have to double check as well.
because, correct me, my understanding, so is it for them, like Dr. Jonathan says, to remove soft tissue? Or is it just to recognize?
It's on page 9.
Yeah,
the bottom
so
of page 9.
going back to what Dr. Thomas said about discrimination, but like Jonathan says, only community service, or is it later on going to trail into regular dental hygienist service in the doctor's office?
Right now, it's.
So it's like
Public health.
to slide something in but there's no proof of 4 hours of education from the doctor, the dentist, How do we know that she was trained?
In my mind, this is kind of something that it's not explicitly in the bill's phrasing how we can, like what we can look at that approves, but I'm thinking it's the same as how we approve the injections, which is a letter from their school, just signed saying they've completed exactly what.
Well, so that can be added on to.
Yeah.
But I can say, oh, I trained him, but I didn't.
Well, I mean.
You know what I
it kind of
mean?
applies to the anesthesia we have now too. I mean, someone could work really hard and falsify a lot of things.
Okay. Well, it's a character, so take. Okay, thank you.
Okay, at this time, is there any other board comments?
Any other part of the discussion, I just wanted to accuse myself of any other part of the discussion. I just wanted to point those things out, that's all.
Okay,
Perfect. Dr. Guevara?
Yeah, this is Dr. Guevara. I just want to make a couple comments. I think we're getting a little bit too in-depth into what this is. This is in the community health service setting, and it is an interim restoration. It's not permanent. sometimes placing one of those can alleviate some discomfort because we're putting something that might have some medication, like an IRM, over an area that, might give some relief. Also, again, we go back to this. We have the rules that we can make any adjustments later on, but this is something that I think is in the best interest of the public because, to be honest with you, you can buy Dentemp out of the Longs or Walgreens, and the patient can stick it in their tooth themselves. Is the exact same thing. So I think we're overthinking this a little bit. Maybe this isn't a public health setting under the direct supervision of a dentist. So yeah, I don't have any problem with this. Okay. That's just my 2 cents.
Okay. No, thank you, Dr. Guevara. Are there any other comments at this time? Marion?
I just want to say that I fully support this for the community health center, and I feel like it's very important. Historically, we've always had the highest decay rate among children in our state, so I fully support this. Thank you.
No, thank you. At this time, are there any other comments, discussions, clarifications from the board? Okay, seeing none at this time, is there any motion related to a position on this bill?
This is Dr. Vera. Make motion to support the bill.
I make a motion to second.
Okay, thank you. And does anybody recuse or abstain from voting? I documented earlier that I'm going to be recusing myself from voting. Anyone else?
Myself.
Okay, notify that Dr. Pine is recusing or abstaining.
Recusing myself from voting.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Pine. Moving on to the voting, if you can say aye and raise your hand to approve.
Support this.
To support this bill.
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone oppose?
Oh, I'm sorry. The other one, the first one.
To support.
Sorry.
No, that's, okay, at this time, the motion is carried. Thank you. Now moving on to agenda item 2C. So this is SB 2854 relating to health. And this is a companion bill to HD 1671 HD1. Again, it has to do with allowing dental hygienists to place intertherapeutic radiation in public health settings under the general supervision of a licensed dentist. We did discuss this earlier in agenda item 2B. For the record, I am also recusing myself from this agenda item 2C, but would be conducting administrative duties to facilitate this agenda item.
Interesting. I like that. Recuse myself from discussion on this.
I just want to make note that Dr. Pine is recusing himself from this agenda item and regarding this bill also. Adrian, did you want to provide any additional information or overview of this bill?
The content is the same as the previous one we discussed, but since HB 1671 has been amended, the only change is that the Senate bill version doesn't ask for the certification, but otherwise it's exactly the same.
Okay.
Certification
It
meaning
doesn't ask for the board to approve them before they can do the ITRs. It still requires the CE and the education, but it doesn't ask for the board to approve it before they go ahead and do that.
So could they add that later or can they?
Yeah, so to 1671, they added it recently.
Okay.
And Adrian, can you update the status of the hearing?
Yeah, so this was heard on February 13th, SB 2854 and passed unamended. The previous House bill version was heard on February 13th and February 24th. And it was the February 24th hearing that it was changed to require the board certification be asked for.
Okay, no, thank you, Adrian.
Just to add on to that, so this companion measure SB 2854 failed to pass the second committee, so it is dead.
It's dead.
Yeah.
Yay.
We don't have to vote on that.
Thank you.
Okay.
So at this time, is there any public testimony on this agenda item? Okay. Any open comments from the board at discussion regarding this bill?
I don't think.
Okay, see none. At this time, I just want to ask advisement from Christopher Hahn regarding that the bill is dead at this time. Do we still want to take a position talking to the board?
No need.
Is that something that we should still take a position on, you recommend, or?
It's all right.
Gone. It's Gonzo. Gotta wait till they cross over. It's gone.
So per discussion with Christopher Hahn, he recommends, or he says that we don't necessarily have to take a position on this bill because it's no longer active in this legislative session.
HB is still not.
So at this time, my recommendation is we don't take a position and just defer this. If that's okay, board. Okay. Moving on to agenda item 2D. HB 1431 HD2 relating to oral health, Companion Bill SB 1516. And this bill establishes an oral health task force to review status of oral health in the state and make recommendations to improve the state's oral health infrastructure. Establishes temporary full-time equivalent position, specialist 5, dental, and appropriate funds. At this time, Adrian, can you kind of give an update, overview of this bill?
Sure. So
Thank you.
we're welcome to just track this bill because it doesn't actually specify that a member of the Board of Dentistry has a voting seat on the Oral Health Task Force. But if the board members feel very strongly that that should exist or that there's another issue with the bill, then get discussed further.
Okay, no, thank you. Now we'll open up for public testimony at this time.
See no hands up, Chair.
See no public testimony, I'd like to open this agenda item to board for any discussion or comments. I do have a comment. This is Andrew. Oh, this is Andrew. I agree with the executive officer, Adrian, regarding this. To follow this bill has nothing directly related to any board members or the public's health and safety. It really is a task force to address the access of care needs and wants for the state. Anybody else like to comment on this bill? No, okay. So at this time, my recommendation is that we just track it at this time. If anybody has any concerns regarding that, if you can just make any comments. Okay, we'll move on to agenda item number 2E. This is SB 1516 relating to oral health. And this is actually the companion bill to HB 1431 HD2 that we just discussed at this time regarding the task force. Adrian, any comments from your side?
Oh, the content is the same and neither of these have been heard yet, so.
Sure, I just want to add that unlike the companion SB 1516, it's dead.
Okay. Okay. At this time, I'm going to open it up for public testimony. See no public testimony at this time. At this time, just reviewing for the board for open discussion comments. Christopher mentioned that this bill is dead at this time. My recommendation is to follow what we did in the HB 1431 HD and just follow at this time. If anybody has any concerns or comments regarding that. So put this bill under agenda item, we'll just defer at this time based upon the status of the legislation. Moving on to agenda item number 3. Approval of the open and executive session minutes of the January 26, 2026 meeting. At this time, is there any public testimony on this agenda item? Okay, Councilor Mayor.
Good morning, Dr. Mayor, inactive license, regarding the testimony of the public on that. I got it in my notes that there really wasn't any public testimony. I believe that it was correctly pronounced Sendero, executive officer, works for the professional vocational licensing division. Therefore, he does not constitute a member of the public as far as the discussion that he presented. Now, the wording in the draft says there are no further board discussion before public testimony. It implies that there was public testimony. To my knowledge, there was not. If I'm correct, then I would request that the wording be changed to no public testimony submitted. Thank you.
Dr. Mayor, can you identify which page?
I'm looking at page 3, ongoing business, discussion of proposed amendment, Hawaii Administrative Rule 1679. And it's about the 4th paragraph of Dr. Feinstein.
There's no further. No, thank you. It's noted. Thank you.
I'm sorry. So to clarify, you want to change it from no further public testimony to no public testimony?
No public testimony.
Okay. Any other comments from the public regarding the minutes? See none, I'll bring it opening up to board comments or discussions. See no board comments or discussions. Is there a motion to approve the?
I make a motion to approve the board minutes.
Joy, second. And then can we be more specific if we're gonna be approving the board minutes for the open meeting with the amendments that Dr. Bear mentioned about no public testimony versus no further public testimony?
Yes, eliminate the word further.
So a motion to approve the open minutes with the requested amendments.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, and and anything regarding the executive session minutes, Dr. Lau? Approval.
I make a motion to approve that, the executive session minutes. Or do we have to vote on the first one first? Or voting for
We
everything?
can put you both.
Oh, okay.
So maybe if we can just, for clarification for the record, if we can just reiterate the motion that's being presented.
So I make a motion to approve the board meeting minutes with the correction to eliminate the word further executive meeting minutes and the general board meeting minutes
Joy second. And the executive session.
and executive session. And what is it called?
Sorry.
Executive session and general meeting.
Executive.
Just
So,
if I may, just clean up the language.
Yeah.
So motion to approve the open meeting minutes with the requested amendments and a motion to approve the executive session meeting minutes as is.
As written, okay.
so on my side, there's clarification. This vote for the agenda item is for the open minutes and the executive session combined.
With the requested amendment.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll second that motion.
Okay.
Second.
So it's, okay, yeah, sorry, let me just try that one more time. So it's a motion to approve the open session minutes with the requested amendments and the executive session minutes as is.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You
Okay,
got it.
so we have a,
Who seconded that? John, it was John, okay.
perfect. At this time, does anybody recuse or abstain from voting? Say aye and raise your hand to approve.
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone oppose? So the motion is carried to approve the minutes. Next, we're gonna be moving on to agenda item number 4, new business. So we'll go to 4A, the Central Regional Dental Testing Services Credits Steering Committee Summary. At this time, Adrian, just for the record, Credits did supply us with a report regarding the steering committee minutes that was conducted earlier this year. For the record, Ms. Joyce Yamada is actually representing the board on the steering committee for credits. Ms. Yamada, did you want to add anything else to the report at this time or any highlights that you
No,
believe?
nothing to add. The report is complete.
Okay. Adrian, do you have any comments or? Okay. Recommend that everybody, if you want further details regarding the report, just read the report and it is in there at that time. Is there any public testimony on this agenda item? Seeing none, Chair. Okay, no public testimony. Moving on to any board comment or discussion regarding this summary. See no board comments or discussion, we'll move on to item number 4B. The American Board of Dental Examiners ADEX report of ADEX licensure examinations. Adrian, do you have any comments on this agenda item?
Won't go into it just in the interest of time, but I have some information on the ADEX Council of Examinations and has some statistics for 2025. If you're interested, you can look at the attachment.
No, thank you, Adrian. At this time, is there any public testimony at this time? Seeing none, Chair. Okay, no public testimony. We'll move on to any board comment or discussion. See no other board comment or discussion, we'll move on to agenda item number 4C. Agenda item 4C, scope of practice inquiry from Jared Murray regarding the application Curdon by licensed dental hygienist. Adrian, could you read the email or the request regarding inquiry regarding this?
Sure. So his inquiry, his full inquiry is attached. He asks, does the application of Curdon, a non-invasive drill-free regenerative caries infiltration therapy reported under CDT code E2991 fall within the scope of practice of licensed dental hygienists employed under existing statutes and supervision requirements? Is he here or no?
Doesn't seem like it.
Okay. At this time, I'd like to open this up to public testimony. See no chair. Okay, see no public testimony. I'd like to open this up for comment or discussion regarding this.
I'd like to make a comment. I think we just refer this because I'm not certain what Curdon is used for. And is it a sealant or is it a fluoride or where do they put it? And I think we just need more information.
This is Steve Bynum. I'm familiar with Curdon. I've not actually used it or placed it at this time, but something we are looking at doing. And it is similar in nature sort of to, it's not fluoride like silver diamine fluoride, but it's used in a typical fashion, which is placed on caries to help remineralize. Caries is my understanding of
The scope for
Dr. Klein, would you mind going over the general procedures regarding it? For example, any cleaning, acid etching, the application?
I'm not as familiar with it to be able to fully go over it. In this conversation, I had started looking into it some time ago and hadn't. I can bring it up though, if you would like it.
So at the.
This is Dr. Rivera. Can I make a comment?
Yes, Dr.
Yeah,
Guevara.
I just make a quick comment on that. Just like in other issues, when we have something that might be new, not that we need to form a pig or anything like that, but one of the board members, maybe a general dentist on the board, or even one of the hygienists, if they could look up what this material is, how it's placed, and give us a little bit more feedback on it, so we don't have to make a decision now if we don't have full information on what it is. I mean, I'm an endodontist. I don't see any of this stuff in the practice. So if you want, it's your discretion as the chair to appoint someone to just get some information presented at the next board meeting. So I'd say defer this, and then we can make a better decision from there, especially if it's on the scope of practice. So we have more information because we're all just seeing this now. And some of us don't even use this material. So it might be in our best interest that someone just do a little quick research and present it to the board at the next meeting. That's my 2 cents.
I'd be happy to do that.
I agree.
No, thank you.
I agree.
So at this time, recommendation by Dr. Guevara is to defer this to the next meeting and assign a board member to actually look into the burden and also do a presentation regarding its use, applications, other things like that. So at this time, I know that Dr. Pine has volunteered to do that presentation for upcoming board meeting, and we can discuss the scope of practice at that time. No, thank you. Any other comments at this time? Okay. Moving on to agenda item number 5, next meeting. So the next meeting is on Monday, April 13, 2026, regarding special legislative meeting scheduled at 10 a.m. This time it is scheduled and it will be up to the executive officer if that's needed based upon our decision. Just in closing, I do want to say, I want to thank all the board members for all your time and effort of participating in this meeting, providing expertise, and just, help serving the public regarding public health and safety. And we really appreciate you serving the board, and I just want to officially acknowledge that again. So thank you. Moving on to agenda item 6, adjournment. Meeting is adjourned at 10:58 a.m. Okay, thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I'll end the meeting now.